For the remainder of my presentation, I'd like to actually go down and present our annual state of the district. So I'm going to move seats. And as was mentioned, I shared a teaser of this information at Rotary, but it's not the exact same presentation because we didn't want to give it away too much. But we have had a fantastic year, and I'm honored to share our updates. We know last year and the last few years were about laying the foundation and planning and listening and making some difficult but necessary decisions. And this year was the year of implementation. We brought those plans to life. We moved from design to implementation, from reorganization to coherence, and from systems work to lived student and staff experience, which is what it's all about. And so I want to highlight some of that tonight. And so as you see here, the year mattered because our ideas, it's the moment when our ideas met reality. We didn't just prepare for change, but we implemented it. So this year, our new schools opened. Our new boundaries took effect. Our new leaders stepped in and new systems began operating, and we're still building additional systems. So this is not about arriving, it's about the journey, and we are going forward, and we are seeing the results, and we are on the right path. Most importantly, our students and staff have felt the changes in action, have experienced it, and that's the result of the listening sessions that we've been hearing is it's working. We're okay. We're not in crisis mode. We are moving forward. We are in implementation, and it is about student learning. And through our decisions this year and our implementation, we've been using the board objectives that you confirmed and drafted as our guiding force and our through line. If we're making a decision, it needs to connect to one or more of these elements, and that has been front and center for us. So we appreciate that and use that for decisions, anything from academic to operational to relational. As you see, all about engagement is the relationship with the student, graduate, and our goal at the center there, the portrait graduate. So while I won't necessarily call these out throughout the entire slides, it is the theme behind all of the work that we'll be sharing here. And so again, we launched our reorganization, new schools, new boundaries, grade spans, staffing models all at once. We operated this year with stronger staffing to open our year than we have in recent history. We had more staff, and that resulted in fewer disruptions. So one thing that we did not have this year, we're closing schools for overflow and busing them or moving them to other schools, which we have had in recent history several weeks into the school year. I don't want kindergartners to be crying and saying goodbye to their friends and teachers because their class is full. Our reorganized district, updated boundaries were designed to solve that problem, and it is working. So this doesn't happen by chance. It's the result of intentional planning, an earlier hiring timeline to make sure we're filling those critical staff positions with highly qualified staff, and shared accountability, checking and monitoring and making sure that we're getting the results that we're wanting. From a governance lens, as our governance team, this matters because it ultimately protects student learning. We clarified options for families so they knew what their choices were and they chose them, and we strengthened our district operational system. The stability we've achieved through the process has allowed us to focus more on classroom learning. And that is where, as we go forward, you'll hear that as a theme, because we're not in crisis and we're not in chaos and we're not desperate for humans. We still have room for growth and we're still filling positions. So please apply if you hear me. And if you're interested, we likely have a space for you. But we're making some great progress, and it is working. And so here's what it's all about, our students and their learning. And you can see some highlights. Our student-centered coaching program that we do to lead and support our instructional staff has earned national and statewide recognition. Confirming our focus on instructional growth is making a difference. At the same time, we've been building our portrait of a graduate through the learner progressions behind the scenes in some committees, and we're about ready to do a soft launch with our staff and a full launch in the fall. We're very excited about that. And then you see examples and the pictures of some of the hands-on learning taking place, many of what you've already referenced today, STEM and VAPA at our magnet schools, but also at our schools across the district. fun, engaged, relevant, and deep learning is taking place. And we have more awards. We added to our list of showcase schools. You can see Las Flores, Gateway, and Fowler this year. We added to our list of Purple Star schools, adding China Lake to the group of Richmond and Las Flores. We value the relationships and the supports for our military-connected students and families, for capturing kids' hearts for all students and families, and making sure that we're very intentional about it. And we know that achievement grows, that student learning grows best in environments where students are known and valued. But we also engage our staff. We know that they're the critical leverage point of how we get those results for our students. And we continue to have regular meetings with our labor leaders. We have school site listening sessions, as I've mentioned earlier, and consistent communication. We're looking for feedback. Internal, external feedback, what is working and what is going to make us even better and stronger. I applaud the board and cabinet for being reflective. For when we miss a step, we regroup and seek to rebuild those partnerships. Our social contract in action is helping guide us as well, listening and learning together for a stronger community of students, families, staff, and community. And so I'd like to highlight today, we had the final endorsement and are ready to print our posters, because we asked, and actually our parent leaders and superintendent's council challenged us. They said the social contract is great, but it can't stop with the district. We need to go bigger. We need to go to the entire community, and so we did. We shared it at the Economic Outlook Conference, and we had tremendous support from the participants in the room. And as a result of our work in advocacy and partnership, we have endorsements of not only our school district and the board in leading that action. The city of Ridgecrest has endorsed us. Recently, the Chamber of Commerce confirmed their endorsement. And just today, Mr. Ald and I went to Bakersfield and participated in the Kern Community College District board meeting, where they endorsed and passed a resolution which will allow Saracoso's logo to be the 4th logo on those posters. PACRAP, as our community partner, has agreed to print the posters, and so that anyone in the community can go and purchase a poster, because we can't gift the public funds, of course, but we can provide the image, we can have it endorsed by our community, and any business, any home, any nonprofit can now get that poster. And so we'll be activating that final image here shortly, and it'll be available this summer. So we're very excited about that work, because it's not just our staff, it's about the community. So I'm kind of jumping ahead, but that is a fun update that is timely from today. When we think of our staff, we also think about leadership, and leadership at all levels. It doesn't mean a role. You don't have to be a principal or an assistant principal. They should be leaders. They are leaders, but every level of staff are leaders, and we're building that. And so when you look at the bottom of this image, our leadership seminar is building that pipeline and that culture of leadership. We just had our final graduating class on Tuesday from our recent cohort. So we try to do a cohort in the fall and the spring. And so our spring cohort just wrapped up on Tuesday. We're so excited to see them developing as leaders. We invested in our principals with executive leadership coaching, adding to their skills alongside cabinet and the board. And we're building an evolving cabinet team with our deputy superintendent role to help us build and work outside of our silos, but together and integrate. And that's all been intentional part of this design, because we want our work to live beyond one person. And we saw and heard 12 wonderful people retiring tonight. And with them leaves some institutional knowledge. Part of what we're trying to do with leadership is to build the pipeline and the capacity so that when they go to their well-earned retirement, the system doesn't struggle and we don't suffer, the kids don't suffer, that we have coherence, we have sustainability, and that's all something we can do and build with our leadership support. And with our engaged community, we've done a few things that we haven't really focused on the spotlight so much. But again, intentional and systematic. We're providing multiple avenues for listening and dialogue. Adding our website we launched this summer is much easier to update across the board. So our site staff are updating, it's posting to social media. We're trying to get out the great word of what's working for our students. And newsletters and such, internal and external, I didn't mention under engaged staff, but our special ed team has been phenomenal under the leadership of Nicole Henson in adding a special ed newsletter for all staff to celebrate and showcase and help to educate, building capacity, because special ed students are all of our students, and we are committed to all students, as we know, but that's part of that messaging. And then stewardship and stability. So throughout all of this, fiscal responsibility has remained a priority. We've maintained a positively certified budget while investing in system improvements that reduce risk and increase efficiency, particularly in human resources and onboarding, some of these behind the scenes things that we don't see or hear about, but they're essential to our stability as an organization, as is the financial piece. And I'll just remind us what we did not do in March that many other districts were doing were a tremendous number of layoffs for staff. And that is so painful, and that's painful to the relationships that we want to build. That doesn't happen by accident, that we don't lay off. That is all intentional. That is by design because of the stewardship that we take so seriously here as a governance team. And so this year has reinforced important lessons. Large-scale change, like we have experienced, requires trust and transparency, clear communication, input, investing early in people, coaching, and systems, preventing disruption later. So building intentionality, listening, adjusting as needed, and activating the entire team, because we know we can't do this alone. Relationships are not an add-on, they are foundational to effective systems. And so where do we go from here? The work is no longer new, it's becoming our standard practice, where focus is shifting from launching the initiatives and implementing to improving, refining, sustaining them, always through the lens of student learning and well-being, using our board objectives as our guiding light. And so you'll see the things that we have coming forward, deepening our instructional coherence, the full rollout in the fall of our Portrait of a Graduate with some marketing campaign around it, continued leadership development and capacity building, and refining and optimizing our systems. We have not arrived, but we are moving quite forward on our journey together. And I'd like to close with gratitude for the board's leadership and partnership, for our dedicated staff, and for a community that believes in its schools. This was a significant year of implementation, and because of our collective and collaborative efforts, I'm confident in where we are and where we're headed together. So I'm happy to answer any questions, but thank you. The future is bright, and it is because of our team in SSUSD.
Thank you, Dr. Moore. Does he have any questions? All right, thank you so much.